No, but hold on. This isn't the talk down challenge yet. Yeah. So this is before we get into our challenge. So
I was waiting for one to stop.
Yeah. We'll edit that out. Don't worry.
They let it talk down when I'm not around, yeah. It's only tied down when I'm out of town, no. I don't trust many when I'm in the city. I've never been a shooter, but I keep them with me. Watch them steal the style and say they inspire. Bitch, I've been a boss who wanna get higher. They let it talk down when I'm not around.
What's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Down. It's Ryan, and I'm here with
Juan, and we actually have some lovely guests here that are joining us today. We're switching it up. We have a quad box. I love that term. I mention it again. And we have Dani from Apso Maybe. I think it's Absolutely Maybe.
It is. Absolutely Maybe.
And we have Shanti of Chantal Diaz Collection. First, we wanted to introduce you to Dani officially and basically let her explain to you what Apso Maybe is, because we love this concept.
Thank you so much. Absolutely Maybe was on my heart for so long. I wanted to create a space where everyone could feel comfortable with sharing their truth and be vulnerable, saying, you know, it's okay to not be okay, and I'm actually not okay right now. It's the name, Absolutely Maybe. I think a lot of people with my personality would come to me and say, you're always happy. Do you ever have a bad day? And it would frustrate me because I would be like, yes, absolutely. So hence the name Maybe, because I definitely don't want to give the misconception that I am always this way. And I suffer from anxiety. I go through depressions. And for me, I found that therapy works, and it has been dope at like changing my thought process and the ways that I was just set. And it's helped me to reprogram and really be introspective and think about who I am from a positive standpoint.
Yeah. No.
Not necessarily, oh my God, I need to change this. I need to change this and this and this and this. Hence, you know, I have this little baby, which is Absolutely Maybe, was born. And I'm really excited about it.
Well, I've known you for a while, and I've never known you to not be smiling. So when I noticed that you came up with this, I was like, this is the perfect person to do this. I'm so about this. And that's when I reached out to you. And I didn't even talk to Ryan. I told you straight, like, we need to have you on the show if you have something, because we want to plug it. Because our communities kind of intertwine in a way, right? What we're doing with Talk Down is almost the same thing. And what I loved is that you put mental wellness and other enthusiasm, right? So it's not like you put yourself in a specific shell or pigeonhole yourself into like just one thing. You know, I'm flawed, I'm here, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna support you through all this. And I love that about you.
I'm flawed and still fabulous AF. You know what I mean? Like we don't celebrate ourselves enough. Sometimes we get so focused on the things that we need to develop on or change. But nah, I'm good. And I'm working on these things. So yes.
I'm good, love, and joy.
Thank you. Yes.
And Chantal, do I say Shanti? I think because we're cool now, I can say Chantal.
Yeah, I'll let you guys call me Shanti.
All right, but when you're addressing her, make sure you refer to her as Chantal, all right, guys?
Facts.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your collection. What is that about?
So thank you for having me, guys. So I'm Chanti, the founder of Chantal Diaz Collection. It's a home fragrance company specializing in soy candles, hand-poured soy candles. It started as a passion project, really. It's something that I always was passionate about, create hand-pouring candles. And the intention behind the brand is self-care. And it's kind of my biggest goal, and every day my intention is to bring light and love and kind of that, you know, creativity to people's homes. So that's me and my company.
Well, we've noticed, and Ryan and I, we do a deep dive of like social media accounts, not to be stalkers.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
We have a valid excuse, okay?
because again, not to be on some creeper stuff, but I just like understanding why like decisions are made and what are thought processes for people, whether they're going through stuff, or what makes you like flip the switch and be like, oh, okay, this is what I want to be about now, or this is how I want to think now. Because most people think that, hey, you just wake up one day and you're thinking that you have to consistently, whether it's me and Juan were talking earlier, separating yourself from negativity, or people who are always putting themselves down or putting stuff down. So I want to ask you individually, and I'll start with Dani. I saw on both of your pages, not only on Absolutely Maybe, but your actual personal page as well, that you do have a lot of inspirational messages. So I went through that same process, and I understand it. So when was it that, like, because I saw on your personal page, there was a time where it's like, all right, you have like a pattern now, and being someone who's of patterns. And if you go back and notice my page, I went through that same step in my life. So what made you be like, hey, I want to spread this message to the world, and I hope some people can learn from it? What took you down that path?
You know, it's so funny. I looked back recently and I was like, there is a definite line of demarcation where I was like, you know what? I want to, you know, be a bit more intentional about my life. And I think for me, it was goal setting and thinking about how passive I truly was being with my life. And I found myself, different situations were happening in different areas of my life. And I just found myself in a position of not of power, where I felt like things were happening to me. And I said, okay, I'm the common denominator. So there has to be something that I can develop on for myself. And my friends probably aren't going to be able to coach me through this all the way. You know, you can coach me through it, but therapy for me really flipped the script and helped me to align myself with my purpose and even feel comfortable and confident enough to dig deep and beyond some of the walls that I didn't know I have put up, and to challenge myself and challenge the, you know, we talk about the inner child and some of the things that I had suppressed, and develop on and work through some of my issues.
Do you think that, because I mean, I'm speaking from those same experiences, right? I know exactly what it is that you are not dealing with right now. I don't want to put it into those words, but just the messages you're trying to put out there. And it's not like you're trying to be like the almighty and nothing like that. It's never like that. I think you're trying to give perspective, not only to yourself, because a lot of people think when people make posts like this and stuff like that, they're trying to be like, hey, this is the right, there's no wrong answers. But it brings up conversations. It brings up topics that, one, people just don't think about. And you give yourself a chance, like you said, the confidence to really be like, hey, I'm expressing myself. I'm understanding, I'm feeling stuff. I mean, I think that moment when I saw that split in your page, I'm like, damn, like it makes sense that you got to that level where you're at now, because I went through it myself. So
thank you. I think you'll also see it was a shift in my confidence level and ability to be vulnerable. Honestly, there was a time where I would never have put out this content and said, you know, some of the posts don't relate to me, but a lot of them do. And there was a time where I didn't feel comfortable saying, hey guys, I have anxiety or to share about mental health. There was a time where I didn't feel comfortable enough to do that. But now, you know, it's perpetual. It's an everyday thing. There's some days I hit Shanti up and I'm like, yo, we'll come together and convene and have a hype session. It's like, girl, no, you got this. But I'm just forever grateful for the ability to say, I want better for myself. I'm not living my most abundant, happy life. And for me, it was therapy. So.
And then, like you said, and not to, real quick, just finish your point. And like you said, you created a certain energy for yourself, right? With all those posts, and maybe unintentionally, but after a while, that became absolutely maybe without you even realizing it would become that, how many ever months. I don't know. I didn't get the dates or nothing, but by accident, it transcended into things that weren't what you were expecting from the start. Go ahead, Shanti.
No, I was just going to say, I'm so proud of Dani. I remember years ago when this became like, we were talking about absolutely maybe just talking. We were just like, she kept on years ago. She kept on kind of talking about it. And I'm like, I know that this is she still didn't kind of say what was it about. She still was figuring it out. So I'm so happy that she finally.
It was just a concept.
Yeah, it was just a concept. And, you know, not even a concept, it was a feeling, because you still didn't know like what kind of direction, but it was a feeling. Like, this is a feeling that I want to give people. And I think you executed that perfectly.
Thank you. If y'all knew, just, you know, very quickly, if y'all knew how, with anxiety and with being a Black woman and with my background and with just having to be so strong, we're just Black and brown people. We got to be strong. You figure it out. You don't have anxiety. You don't have panic attacks. Like, you're being very sensitive right now. Don't embarrass me. You know, you're going to therapy. Okay, that's fine, but you don't need to tell everybody about that. So I think while it was a concept, I think that this was my desire, but I just did not have that confidence. And I have learned through therapy that I think I was almost safeguarding my family to not just my family, but safeguarding myself and my family from embarrassment.
It's natural fear, right? Like, because there is a stigma when it comes to anxiety, right? Like, oh, I have to go talk to someone. It's like, what? You don't need to talk to anybody. What's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you. Like,
Yeah.
and as a Latino male, like, we're taught to not show feelings. We're taught to like not cry. Like, and I think that applies to minority male, right? Like you're supposed to be a certain way. You can't show, what are you doing? You know, you're being you know, quote unquote, the B word, right? So from fear, you flipped it around and you know, it's not about them anymore. It's about you.
It is about me, and it's never been. I've never operated in this power. I've never owned it. You know, to your point, you all of you can say these amazing things about me, and I'll be very vulnerable in this moment to say I didn't feel that. And there are still some days where I have to, like, that's why I was talking to you guys about the affirmations and posting affirmations to myself to remind myself, like, you are that chick. If I have to play the Savage remix 10 times in a row, you know, it's the process of unlearning. And I felt that through conversation with other people that I felt were just as dope or more dope than me, they have the same issues. And I'm like, why? I want to martyr myself. And I'm going to be the person to talk about this because I've been searching for someone that looked like me, that felt like me, that had a similar scope, you know, as me, but no one is talking about it. So I'll be that person.
Yeah. Really quick, you talked about therapy, which is super dope. But a lot of people don't realize that not only therapy, whether you're going to talk to somebody or you're doing self-therapy where you're talking to yourself, a lot of people don't have those conversations with themselves. And I think not only just those posts, but even us talking to ourselves, it's almost like a coping mechanism that really does allow you to become the better version of yourself. You said you built confidence, and there's just multiple layers of stuff where you can put on that song now and you're like, yo, I'm the shit. Like, and again, like mentally strong, emotionally strong, physically strong, like spiritually. There's like so many layers to a person that some people go to an extreme and they think only one thing matters. And I mean, it's not just about one thing. You do have to have a balance. Some people, mental health is better than physical health. Like for me, finding that balance in the middle is super important. And it's really dope that I'm glad you're able to find that for yourself. And it's allowed you to build a platform where you can share those same ideas to hopefully other people can like agree with you.
Thank you.
And I think in the long run, we all just want to be unapologetic about who we are, right? And I think social media, it's easy for us to post a post and have it be popular. And do we really like feel that way? You know, but
I have like a love and hate relationship with social media. Like I love it so much because you can connect with people so easily, but then I hate it because I think that I always have to kind of ground myself and like check myself because it's so easy to get distracted with everything. Like then you start comparing yourself, you start comparing your life, and then like I did a deep cleaning. My social media, I deleted a lot of people that were not giving me positive vibes, and just really everything was intentional. Like every account that I follow gives me some kind of food for thought or like some good energy, good vibes.
You kind of get a gauge of who someone is by like doing a deep dive. And we noticed you're not just showing us your product, you're showing us messages. And you know, Absol maybe does that a lot. And Dani, you do that too. And it's funny how you two are like friends, right? Because, you know, I go to a product page and I expect to see nothing but like, okay, she has candles, cool. Like, you know, I'm with that. But, you know, you have messages that are like, damn, she cares. You know what I mean? Like, what is the idea behind it? Because it doesn't feel like it's just you're selling a product. It feels like you're selling a personality. You're selling an aura. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. It's not just a product, it's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's a lifestyle of self-love and affirmation and ever evolving. I think me as a woman, I'm always evolving. I'm always changing. I'm not the same person I was yesterday, you know, and it's all about kind of bringing that positivity into light always, 100%. Even when the world is coming apart around us, my main thing is I have to remind my customers, and I have to be positive for my customers because it is a lifestyle brand, and remind them that at the end of the day, you have yourself and the relationship that you have with yourself, and the relationship, you know, the love should be the center of everything that you do. So I always try to kind of bring that out in everything, in every post, kind of bring that intention out.
Okay. Love that. That's why we can support both of you. Ryan, actually, you want to ask her about that?
Yeah, so I got two questions real quick. Because one, I have an appreciation for art, and everybody. I'll go around the table. What's everybody's like horoscope sign? Not that I'm into like all that stuff, but
You're
I definitely
so into that, bro.
No, I'm low key not.
I'm a bruja.
I only understand mine, but I definitely do feel certain energies when we do talk about a certain horoscope. So everybody go around real quick and just say what you are. I'll go last because So
wait. Can we guess yours first?
Mine?
Both of you guys.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Should I start? No, you start.
I want to guess you guys is. Okay.
See, I'm not even good enough to guess people's. I just know.
I'm not good, but I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna try too. I think Ryan, are you an Aquarius?
Mm-mm.
Cancer?
Mm-mm.
He would have told you yes, and you would have believed it. You see what I mean about horoscopes? Like,
you would have been like, I knew it.
I knew it.
No, but I really do believe in horoscopes. Don't knock it. Don't knock it.
Go, Sean,
we had a conversation in one of the episodes, and I conceptually I understand what it's about.
I feel, okay, this is the thing about horoscopes. I feel that I do believe in them, but they don't define who you are.
There we
you know
go.
What I mean?
That's the best way to
like,
put it.
it's impossible to be like, I'm this way because I am a Leo or something.
Yeah.
But talking about Leos, are you guys, one of you a Leo? I knew
I'm not.
Leo.
No, Huang is a Leo, right?
Yeah, I'm a Leo.
Yeah.
I'm actually good. Okay.
Wow.
Gemini.
Mm-mm.
You got like 8 more to guess.
I'm like a hybrid. That's what I'm trying to tell people. I'm like a creative player. I've worked on myself so much that it's hard to guess. But
such a creative. I was just like, he's definitely an Aquarius. Are you a Libra?
Cancer. We actually said all of them.
Well,
Yo, I think
all of them.
He was born, and I'm like, what is it?
I'm a Pisces.
I knew it.
Oh.
I knew they were gonna say that, bro. I knew it.
I'm kidding. I had no idea. You know the thing with me, I'm very familiar with fire signs, so I know a lot of Leo qualities and Sagittarius because I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay.
So I know like Leo, Sagittarius. I know a lot of Capricorn. It's not a fire sign, but I do know a lot about them. So
It's not a fire sign, but we're still all fire.
yeah.
Facts. What are you?
Dani's a Capricorn, and we like get along so well.
Yeah, I don't know anything else besides Pisces. And again, like when I hear like Pisces traits, obviously there's some similarities. But again, I just feel like when you get put into a box, like I don't like getting put in a box. So I feel like you can evolve within whatever you are. So.
Oh yeah, of course. And I feel like, I mean, even me, I think I'm so multifaceted. Like there's no, like I can't just picture myself being one way because I'm telling you, I'm always
ignorant.
I'm not going to be a different person.
Yeah.
Facts.
I'm always
all right, just to stem off of that before we go into we could have a whole nother episode about that. But what I really brought my attention, obviously I dug deep into I can't remember whether it was your personal page or the company one. But was it personal? Yeah. So I went all the way back, and first thing I noticed was it was a hella bunch of flowers. Explain what and it kind of makes sense because I mean thinking of it, me not knowing you, just assuming, right? Where that maybe transcend to what you have now. Is there any connection within that, or? Well, there might have been like 20 posts of just straight up flowers. I was like, this girl.
No, not only flowers, orchids.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Orchids. No, well, the thing is, I started I love nature. I started the Instagram as like a flower page, like a orchid. So I would just take pictures of orchids, and like nature definitely is one of my biggest inspirations with everything, especially my company. So yeah, I think that's somehow connected, you know. It's like in the core of the brand, you will find orchids.
Yeah, it made sense to me when I saw that. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, and I was telling Ryan, I was like, bro, if I had an ideal way that my page looked, she's super artsy, bro. I was like, I like this.
I'm super artsy, creative.
Nah, it looked really good. So the first thing Ryan mentioned, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot of flowers there. Let's look at something.
I noticed patterns. I'm a pattern guy.
It was a few months straight flowers.
So now that we're warmed up, we're going to get into the topic. And the topic, we spoke with her last week and we kind of let her stew on it a little bit, but she brought up a good one. And I think Ryan and I last season discussed friendships, but we didn't necessarily delve into those important friendships, the one that we call quote unquote best friends, right? And sometimes we're under the impression that we can only have one, but when we get older, we realize that we have few, but we have them, right? It could be a broad topic. I know we're gonna probably like go off, but what is, now that you're weathered, I like to say, right? That whether we don't have those same friendships that we had when we were kids, and we're like, you'll be my best friend forever, like those things. What is a best friend, or what is an everlasting friendship to you now?
I think for me as an adult, oh my God, am I an adult? I'm 28. I'm 28 going on 18. No, but as a woman, I feel like what I find important now is listening. When somebody actually listens to you, I think that's part of a good friendship. I think understanding, I think respect. But those are all giving things, right? Those are all giving, like you need respect for a friendship. But I think that now with everything that's going on, I do really appreciate my honest and like true friendships. And there's so many things that go into that. There's laughter, which I think, when I think of Dani, I think of laughter. I think that we have a soul connection because we have the same sense of humor. And there's not a day that we don't like we crack up. Every time that we talk, and it's laughter and it's understanding and it's emotion and it's heartbreak and it's going through all those stages of your life together,
right? Okay.
I hope I answered that right.
Yeah, no, I copy for sure.
Yeah,
definitely copy.
I was like, ooh, a little emotional. I'm over here like, yeah, I think as you're talking, Shanti, I'm thinking about all that we have experienced together. And I think when we met, we had a genuine connection. It was like, oh, wow, I'm, older than her, but like there was just such a genuine connection. And the conversations that we had were just so deep, and I felt vulnerable and I trusted her. I think trust for me is important. And also integrity is important. And we've seen each other through good times and terrible times in each other's lives, and we've been there to support. And it's like, there are certain people that you can laugh and kiki with and not necessarily go deep with, but we can do both. And I think that's why I cherish you so much. Even through COVID, COVID-19 hit and we were like, no one has experienced this before. But in my most vulnerable moments, in her most vulnerable moments, we can share and come together. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that she has my best interest at heart, that she's never going to share it with anyone. The deepest, most vulnerable moments that I've had with her. And tomorrow, she's not ever going to throw it back in my face and say, girl, because remember when? She's going to be like, anyway, so let's talk about Insecure, or it's anything. We'll talk about anything. And that's important to me, to have weathered storms and also the good times and have fun, because we'd be having a good time. If somebody got a hold of our text records, we would probably.
Oh my God. Yeah, we be a whole different story.
I'll let Ryan kind of get to the next one, but before that, you mentioned, I think, a word, and I think the word overlapped what both of you were discussing essentially when it came to those best friends or those important friendships, right? And I think vulnerability is a key one there. I think that we can't lose sight of how important it is to have someone that you can be vulnerable with. And I think I'm going to use Ryan as an example here. And Ryan has seen me at my worst, and Ryan has motivated me to be at my best. So it's important. And I do get like a feeling as well, because I know that he does that for me. So I know how important it has people like Ryan, people like Shanti in your life, and Dani. So I appreciate you sharing that, because vulnerability is something that we try to hold that so close, right? Even with our social media, you see, we put up a facade. This is who I think I am, right? But with our friends, I don't have to, comb my beard. I don't have to, this is who I am. You see me at my worst. I have crumbs on my beard today, like, this is who I am. I just feel like being Juan today, right? So I think vulnerability is very important. And I like that you mentioned that.
Can I add really quick too? Because we talked about this too, Shanti, about being able to check each other when things are out of alignment,
Yeah.
or when I'm out of alignment, or go through a tough moment together and not be in agreement, but love each other through it. Sorry, Ryan.
No, you're good. No, absolutely. And just to touch, I think as we grow older, right? I think it's safe to say that Chantal is the youngest person in this chat right now.
Yeah.
In age only, because she older than all of us.
I haven't old. Yeah, I'm a little grandma.
She is.
No, I think we are old people at heart. I feel like I'm way older than I am, but I mean, I'm young. I feel younger, but I feel like mentally.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, Juan is my best friend. Having somebody that you could look up to, somebody who's older than you, somebody who not only the same way that he says that I push him and I motivate him, even in his toughest times, he might have thought that he wasn't doing nothing for me, but it wasn't like, I think as we get older and the people that you know are true to you as like genuine, don't expect anything, right? Because there's a lot of friendships, right? And I wouldn't put that in the best friends category, but there's a lot of friendships that there's gains to those friendships, right? And it's almost like in the business world, like you do know these people for certain reasons, right? As cruel as that might sound, that's the truth. But when you do meet people that you genuinely like care for and you respect, when they're at their highest or they're at the lowest, you treat them the same as if, I mean, nothing has ever changed. So I think the fact that we can talk about helping understand, being vulnerable, having conversations, like Chantal said, having somebody who can listen to you without even saying anything. There's times where I'm just like, yo, I don't even have anything to say. And you can just listen to people and stuff like that. So that's super dope. Again, and I was telling Juan, I don't know if it was today or a couple of days ago, how there's like layers to, I say I have multiple best friends, because there's best friends that you have from your childhood, despite you not spending as much time with them, like they're still a best friend at core, like for the values of what I consider a best friend, right? Mm-hmm. There's people who are like acquaintances that you know of, that you see here and there, you're cool with. There's people who know you on deeper levels, and there's people like ourselves where we have relationships with each other where it's like, hey, it's a different level. So what do y'all think about, is it even a possibility to have multiple best friends in your opinions, or is it just like, no, this is the best person,
one person, and then everyone else?
Yeah, like, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that you can have multiple best friends. I think there are, as you said, to your point of different levels, but in different aspects of your life. I mean, we all have a work bestie, right? Like, yeah. I have a work bestie that, can understand dynamic of what I'm going through at work, or celebrate work, or, I definitely think that we are, as we grow older, our lives are so much more segmented. Mm-hmm. So yes, we can have multiple best friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. I mean, I have friends, close friends. I don't have many, but the ones that I do, the ones that I consider my best friends are very different. Like, I have my best friend, Deli. She lives in Maryland, and I've known her forever, and that's a person that I talk to every single day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that I do have different soul connections. I'm going to use that word again.
Ooh,
because it's like, depending on where you are in your life, you meet somebody and you click. Something in both of you just click together. And that's something that can only be described as a soul connection.
Mm.
Right, girl.
You need versatility in your soul. That's what that means.
I like that.
Get your soul up, guys. Get your soul up. You spoke of your friend, so now you can only interact with this friend long distance, right? There is no visiting because the person isn't close.
Yeah, for a while now, because she moved to Maryland. I mean, her family lives here, so she will come, but definitely now there's just we can't see each other physically. But it has been like a long distance friendship for a while.
Okay.
But you're so good. She's the
godmother to her daughter.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so it's a beautiful point to make, because I think now we're living in a digital age. I think it's safe to say, and COVID has taught us that that technology has helped us harbor friendships or keep friendships that we want to keep. I know I FaceTime Ryan all the time. So do you feel like it's possible to create a best friend, or to keep and Shanti, I think you've already answered that question for us. Do you feel like it is possible to have a non-physical best friend created by the digital platforms? Like, let's say social media, you found someone and you have a conversation, and all of a sudden this person you talk to all the time, and then that graduates to like Zoom calls or FaceTimes or whatever. Do you think that that's possible, and is it important to try to get that?
I think so, 100%. I mean, and I think that I have been doing it with my best friend,
Right.
you know, and I think that there's people that I meet online that I connect to, you know, our personalities connect. And I think that this experience of COVID-19 has kind of forced us to kind of have this digital thing going on. And I'm feeling it. I think even after we're back to our new normal, I think the Zoom calls will continue. And I think that like this idea of always connecting using your digital platforms will continue, if that makes sense. Like the Zoom calls will continue. Because I think that now, I mean, we always had Zoom. And now it's like, because we have no choice. But now on a Friday night, even if we're back to normal, we can have a little digital happy hour.
Yeah, happy hours. That's super
popular.
Yeah. How about you, Dani?
Oh, absolutely. I think some of my friendships have been strengthened because I'm not originally from New York. So I connect with family, friends on all the coasts here and in other states, countries. You know, my brother has
friends everywhere.
So do you. But I definitely leverage the Zoom, Google Hangouts, like every other platform that you can think of. Facebook, which I'm like, but my sister-in-law and I are very close, and she has encouraged me to do Facebook, Messenger, like we video.
Oh God, that's a rabbit hole I'd rather not go.
I know.
That is a rabbit hole.
For her and my niece and my brother, I'll do it. So yeah.
Ryan and his brother told me about Party, is it called, that app?
House Party.
House Party.
You know, I actually downloaded it. I've never used it in my life.
The four of us should do it.
Yeah, it's lit in there.
Okay, but what is it? It's like a game. I'm such a grandmother. I know that it's hard.
A grandmother.
You're really not the age you are. I don't want to hear that.
I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm 35 years old. When we were working together, I don't even know how old I was, but I was your boss.
Yeah, definitely.
But it didn't feel like that because she was like managing my whole life, and she still manages my life. I'm like, yo, who is this girl?
And you know, it goes to show you how much your souls are matched, because boss to the subordinate relationship, they don't necessarily extend beyond the walls of the office.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing about me though, and I'm gonna brag about myself. I'm very like professional. Like I would have a connection with you, but like, you know, some people, like you will have friends, like you will like become friends with your boss and then like you're like late the next day. Not me. Like I would never disrespect her as a boss. Like I would be like, follow all her rules, be on time, all that stuff. But you know, also, you know, I became her friend in the midst of all of it.
Wow.
That was years ago. And both of us are no longer, we haven't been with the company for years.
Yeah.
Maintained.
I think this is the one that that might like be a controversial one, because it's relating to relationships. And I think that once we get into a relationship with someone, a significant other, I would say you tend to become that person's best friend. And I know we've talked about different types of best friends. This is a certain type, but I feel like there are certain people that will have that significant other become their best friend, and they will lose sight of everyone else. Can you speak on maybe past experiences that maybe that's happened to you, or people that you've seen had that happen, where it has an adverse effect? Because what happens if that relationship doesn't work out? Whoever wants to take it.
That topic is very triggering to me, and I tell you why. It happened to me twice.
Okay.
And I blamed myself, where I was very close with a female girlfriend, and she met somebody, and we both couldn't fit in her life. Both of our friendship cannot fit in the same universe. And let me tell you, friendship breakups hurt more than romantic ones.
Oh my God.
You know? Because it's like you hold them up, you have a certain standard, right? That you expect them to hold, and it's heartbreaking because you don't expect a friendship to end, right? You expect men or your significant other, your partner, to kind of do something, whatever. But your friendship, you're just like, we're gonna be best friends forever.
Right.
So it's something that took me a while to get over, and it was very, very heartbreaking. But then it happens, and it's kind of like, now that I'm past it, I am grateful that I don't have certain relationships in my life because, I mean, if you have to kind of end a friendship or a romantic one, I mean, that shows a lot about you. So yeah, that's my take on that.
And I don't want to dive deep into something you don't really want to talk about like that. But
no, it's okay. I'm actually healed. I can talk about it.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
So being older now, right? Do you feel like it was easier for you or harder for you back then to deal with those situations? Being that you did go through them now and you're a little bit older, if you did go through a situation or stuff like that, is it easier to be more understanding, or is it like
I think it will still be painful. Actually, any stage of your life.
But do you feel like now, and not to cut you off, do you feel like it's levels to it now? Because again, relationships at older ages are different than when somebody's dating somebody at like 17, 18, 19, 20. You know what I mean? Like those relationships aren't real serious.
Yeah, they're a little more naive than anything else.
Exactly. Like people are a lot more young-minded. Men aren't definitely fully developed at that age to even be understanding stuff at that point. So towards the back end, like when we're turning 30 and we start hitting 40s and stuff, like I think there's levels to relationships, and I think it happens less because more friendships are developed even further.
Yeah, I think it does happen less, but it still happens. I mean, it did happen to me, not when I was a teenager. It happened to me a few years ago. So yeah, I think it's just kind of part of life too. I think I'm really a big believer that some people are meant to be in your life for a certain time, like 2 chapters of your life, or chapter 7 through 20, you have those people in your life, and that's okay, and I had to like tell myself like that's 100% okay. It doesn't have to be like a negative thing, or like it did hurt, but it doesn't have to be like this. I don't have to carry that kind of negativity with me all my life. It's just how it is.
You might be on different chapters, writing different words, but those pages still matter.
Exactly. They still matter. It's kind of like a romantic relationship, right? Even if it ended, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. You still had your good times, so.
But to your point, we have seen each other through relationships, Shanti and I don't think it slowed anything down. Like we still were intentional about making time for each other, being available for each other, which is the other side of your question, Ryan. We weren't so into our partner that our friendship suffered.
Yeah.
In either of our relationships that we've had.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because I just want to understand not only just what you're thinking, but your thoughts on this, right? So let's say, I'm gonna just use me and Juan for instance, right? Me and Juan have been friends for a long time, right? We have a relationship already developed, 10 plus years developed, right? We meet somebody, we start talking to them. Is it selfish in a sense for you to be like, hey, you're not spending as much time with me anymore because now you're developing a new relationship? Like, what's your take on that? Because like from our perspective, it's a whole different, like, you know what I mean?
I have a different perspective on that because I think having that have been something that I am so passionate about because my friendships are so important to me. I think there's a balance, especially when you're first meeting someone. I don't think that you should be enveloped in them and all of your time be spent with that person. So I think for me, it's a safeguard also to still spend time with my friends, but probably more time with my friends than I would this new person. Yes, you're getting to know this new person, but there should be a bit of distance. I'm probably saying that because I've made the mistake.
You just got a wall up. So let me put it into some perspective, right? So let's say, for instance, Juan starts talking to somebody, and as somebody who knows Juan, we already have this trust, this understanding, all of this stuff with each other, right? It's, in my opinion, right? It's selfish of me to be like, hey, you're spending less time with me now. Why is that? Like, if anything, I understand it, right? I'm like, look, I get it. Like, you met somebody, and again, there's levels to it. Like, if it's like OD and it's like, yo, I don't see you at all anymore. I mean, I understand that part. I'm not. That's disrespectful. But if I'm seeing him less because of that, in my opinion, I'm not gonna be like, yo, I don't see you anymore. Like, what's good? Like, oh, now you around with this person all the time. Like, what are your thoughts on that? That's what I'm trying to get to that point.
I get what you're saying, actually. Sorry to cut you off, Dani. I saw you. I get what you're saying, actually. Now I understand. I think it's about what Dani said, balance. Like, it's not like I mean, of course you're gonna not see me like you the regular, because you are actually seeing somebody. So no, I can't see you every Friday night. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, like, because some of my friends have, or even me, when I was dating somebody, I didn't see my friends every weekend like I used to. We had an understanding. They didn't feel any type of way. But if you kind of erase the whole friendship,
I'm out with that.
I think that's when the problem occurs.
Yeah, I agree with y'all on that for sure. But like to be like, hey, I'm not. It almost puts you. And of course, we all have walls, and we're all protective of our friends, right? And it's like, hey, don't go too fast. Like if there's a vibe and you're feeling something, like it's, and especially at this age when we're getting older, like I think we should trust our friends to be self-aware, to understand that we owe that respect to them, to be like, hey, all right, I trust you. Like, and then when that's what friends are there for. When stuff doesn't work out, if Juan ignored me and he was dating somebody and it didn't work out and he came back, I'm not gonna be like, yo, don't talk to me no more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll be like, yo, you still my dude. I'm not gonna disown you because you didn't talk to me for 3 months. We've had a relationship for 10 years.
I think it's an awareness of who you are and what you need to allow for your friend through an obvious transition. It's just a transitional period because they're not going to want to be with that person every day in 3 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to your point of not saying something, if the relationship, I think that's a whole other episode too, of how do you interject and inject opinion when your friend is dating someone that you don't enjoy so much. And
then you saying you don't enjoy them, or
yeah, well, we sometimes
the vibe you're getting from them.
Yeah, but sometimes your friend can see things that you don't.
Yeah, no, that's true. We've all been there where maybe there's someone that someone's seeing and you don't want to like completely like put a damper on that whole situation. You want to let them play it out, but you basically, sometimes we have a different viewpoint when your friend is dating someone, right? Like we see them for what they are, they see them for what they think they are, right? Like, so again, we're talking about facades. And I think that sometimes friends just have the best interest. I think it's less likely for a friend to be jealous of a relationship, though that does happen. Though that does happen, but I get what you're saying. And you have to sometimes let it play out, especially if that's your friend, right? And it sucks because you'd love to be able to like interact and co-mingle with that special person in your friend's life. And that's why I brought it up, because I have seen relationships where friendships are just severed completely. And now when the relationship is done, that person can no longer go because it almost feels like you freed me for this. You like released me for this person and it didn't work out. You know what I mean? Like,
do you guys watch Insecure?
No.
Oh my God, you guys have to.
I know. Everybody tells me. I've just been stuck on it.
So good.
So good. But that point was made.
HBO, right? That's on HBO?
It's on HBO. But it's such a good show to teach you about enduring relationships, friendships, especially as they're in their 30s now. So they are dealing with things that we as, sorry, Shanti.
It's very relatable.
Well, you too, Shanti, because you are 47. So, you know, like, it's like the things that we are going through. It's such a good written show. And the issues that they tackle are like everyday issues that we are experiencing today. For everyone watching this, if you watch Insecure, in the comments below, let us know, and let us know your favorite episode or favorite character, because
I think it's like the first season.
That's homework for me. I'd have to put that on my watch list now. Again, we can go for 4 more episodes I think, with you, and that's great to know because we'll definitely bring you back as reoccurring guests. So we talked about walls, and I think that was a great point that I think Ryan mentioned at one point. I think that Dani mentioned at one point. I think with friendships, when it's not a significant other, okay, so when it is a significant other and your relationship doesn't work out, you tend to build a brick on that wall and say, I'm going to protect myself from making the same mistakes I made in my previous relationship. Do you feel like that applies to friendships as well? If a friendship doesn't work out, do you feel like you put on a layer of a brick and you're a little more, because for me personally, the older I get, the harder it is for me to say, yo, that's my best friend. I met him like 2 months ago, right? Like, it's harder for me to establish these like friendships, because I do kind of feel like it's almost exhausting to put yourself out there and constantly be disappointed. And I know the standard that I have. So do you feel like the same applies? I think it's interesting because I think as we grow older and more wise, we're more discerning. So we know when our souls connect and we know when they don't connect, more so than we did when we were younger. I think it's less likely that we're going to make a new friend
now that isn't attached to someone else that we already know.
Right.
But I definitely think that we're still pensive and a little hesitant with new people. But I think we also know ourselves more.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what we're looking for in a friendship. So it's an interesting question. I know for myself, I've met new people, but for the most part, they came with references.
Yo, they gotta come
on their last three.
Come with a whole document.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, where are your references? Let me see your resume. And
your references, that's real.
It's true. I mean, for most adult relationships, new friendships, or even relationships, I'm learning that I'm like, okay, well, let me do your background check and then I'll get back to you in 2 weeks.
Yo, because based on who they know, you know that maybe the type of person they could be, right?
Your friends you are your friends. Is that a phrase?
Yeah. We mentioned before, you are the sum of the 5 people you keep around.
Yeah.
But that's why relationships, I can't remember the statistic, but when people are matched by friends, it tends to work more. Because when that common denominator knows both parties, you know what makes the other person tick more, or you know what the core characteristics and values are of both people. I mean, in friendships too. I've been connected to other people as friends. One of my best friends, I've only known for a few years, but she was connected through someone else that I know. So I think we're more discerning and we know what to look for.
I love that word, discerning.
I want to be on the opposite. I guess I'm on the young side still. But like, obviously, my job, I'm consistently meeting strangers, and for me, from what I'm hearing from Juan and Dani, it's less like everybody I meet. I'm not trying to make my best friend. Like I have those people already, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I'm not open to meeting new people, because whether it's wisdom I can learn from them or whatever it is, like I'm open to acknowledging. I think I'm smart enough and wise enough to distinguish somebody who is genuinely gonna, Shanti was saying earlier, bring positivity to your life, right? So when I do have new clients and stuff like that, I low-key see myself becoming better friends with them. I wouldn't say best friends, better friends, despite them paying me or whatever it is, because you build relationships with these people. You consistently see you want better for them. You want them to become the best versions of themselves, and you do become like a little family. Like my clients low-key are like family to me. They're saying happy birthday. We're texting each like back and forth. So it's not like I'm opposed to. And again, I'm not walking up to everybody. I'm like, hey, you want to be
my friend?
I mean, like, but again, it's like a vibe. You feel it, and it's like, yo, we click, like, and it's different. So
you have to kind of follow that like intuition.
Yeah. And I think I'm old enough to know what that is now. But you can't everybody can't have your energy. That's what
How old are you, Ryan?
How old do you think I am?
Well, I know are you 31?
You got to guess.
30?
Well, I'm Pisces, so my birthday is in March, so that passed already.
What year?
You got to guess. You got to guess another game.
30.
All right. That's a good guess.
You're 30?
I'm 32.
Oh, okay.
Young 32.
Age doesn't really matter anymore, though. I feel like age is nothing.
Once I reached a certain age, I started saying that myself. But I do believe in that. I do believe in that more than ever, and I know why people say that, because I remember when I was, in my 20s, I remember feeling like I had all the answers, and I was just a naive, snot-nosed kid. Like if I knew at the time what I know now, I'd be unstoppable. I can tell you that right now. So I appreciate when someone says that. So Shanti, anything to add to that? To that specific like Wall's point, or because I know Dani said that you're a bit more discerning. Ryan says that he uses it in his profession to kind of leverage relationships, and I think leverage is a key term for him. How about you in your life?
I mean, I think I am a very open person, so you can easily become my friend, but I feel like I'm also very selective in the same way. So like it's funny because that question made me think.
I'm like, sis, where are you? Shanti be like,
no, I'm like, listen, I already got 2 friends and that's a lot. No, but I feel that question made me think, because it made me realize that I do feed off of my friendships. So I already have everything that I want in friendships. So when I'm looking at meeting new people, so I mean, yeah, I can be your friend, but do I need I already have my girls that listen to me that have been through it all. So it's kind of like when you meeting somebody, like a romantic relationship, you have to kind of get to know the person and get to know their flaws or whatever. So I'd be good. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm not mean. I'm not like standoffish, but I'm also like, I'm fine.
You're
I'm
fulfilled.
fine with
You're
girls
fulfilled
in
in
my
what you have, right? So it's like your gas tank is full. You don't want to fill it up anymore. There's no need.
But also talking about tanks being full, my little finger. I do think I am also very aware of the energy tank that I have. If I already have enough friends, when I have a conversation with you or when I'm there for you, my energy tank goes down. So, I mean, imagine if I have 20 deep, like those deep connection friendships.
I think it's gonna be even better.
I wouldn't
In my
even.
opinion.
Yeah, but I think that
have energy for myself.
Yeah, I think what she's saying is that she doesn't know how to like section herself off. I think when she gives herself to a friendship, she gives all of herself.
Of course.
Yeah, because I'm a very emotional person. So like everything that you're going through, like let's say if Dan's going through something, and that's why I have to constantly clean my aura. Because if Dani is going through something, a breakup, I am feeling that same exact thing on my body. Yeah. It's insane. So that's how deep, like that's how it's a soul connection. So it's like a relationship. If your significant other is going through something, you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, the same. So
again, I guess maybe I see it on a different level. For me, everybody doesn't have to be my best friend for me to be friends with them.
Yeah.
Or create new connections with them. So it's like, let's say we talked about best friends, right? Create a real simple analogy. I have a favorite hoodie that I love, right? I wear it all the time. People are like, oh, you wearing a hoodie again? Blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean that I won't go get another hoodie, or I won't look at other hoodies, or I won't borrow somebody's hoodie just because I have a hoodie that I love, or I have 5 hoodies that I love. That, if anything, makes me appreciate the hoodies that I already have. Like, damn, that one is very, very, very special. I can still build connections with other people and still appreciate the important people in my life. And yes, you do talk about like giving energy and just being tired and blah, blah. And I understand that for sure. I almost feel like, in my opinion, you're blocking yourselves from maybe creating more energy for yourself because you're like, all right, my friend list is closed at the moment. Come back in 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think when I say that?
Well, what I'm going to take from it is that it just means that you two are different people, right? Like,
absolutely.
I think that some people are self-aware enough to know that I just don't have the bandwidth, and I love using that word, right? I just don't have the bandwidth.
Bandwidth is my.
I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna use it in a sentence.
I just don't have the bandwidth to siphon myself off emotionally, right? Section myself off emotionally, because I know myself. I'm not gonna be able to just like, and at the same time, I know when I need to maybe turn that on, right? Like, but I don't necessarily need to bring this person into my inner circle, which is it goes to Ryan's point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel you completely, Ryan. I feel like like I said, like it's not that I don't want new friends. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a very open person if you get to know me, if I actually leave my house. He's looking at me because she doesn't leave her house. I'm open to new friendships, but I think what I'm hesitant about is having like really strong inner, like best connection.
Yeah. And I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even though you meet new people, it doesn't mean they're gonna like be your best friend. Like, you could, like I say, there's people who know me and people that I know. Like, yeah, people can know you. That doesn't mean that they're best friends with you. People I see in the gym and those relationships I have with those people, I can have conversations and be like, peace. And me, maybe I'm like Juan was saying, this is me personally. It won't affect my mind as much or my bandwidth as much because it's not like, and not to say I don't care about that person, because I do genuinely care about almost every single body. But maybe in my sense, I've learned to balance the way that I share it. I don't know. I don't know how to even put it into.
I think it's all about balance. That's the magic word.
Yeah.
Right?
And I know you, Ryan, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, I'm not trying to be best friends with everybody.
And I know that you have a specific personality type that you're able to section things off. Like, all right, we're cool. We're associating. We're best friends. But here, like, I'm gonna leave you right here.
Ask me to go out somewhere.
I'm that way, Ryan.
Yeah.
Too. I meet people everywhere. I talk to strangers. I meet people on the subway all the time. People ask me like, where did you meet this person? I'm like, I think I met him on the A train. I don't know.
That's how, yeah, and that's why that's how we're the same too. Again, everything I do for work, it prompts me to be sociable and be a social person. But as soon as I leave, I'm like, yo, I can't wait to go home. Like, if I don't talk to that person again, that's cool. But you know, like, it's one of those situations.
Introverted extroverts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So before,
I think I'm an introvert.
I might be too.
COVID has made me like, okay, I need my time. I need my time.
Yeah.
Like I am 100% okay being by myself and not seeing people, but then I do miss that like human connection. But then I'm like,
fun person though. Like the crazy thing is, we have so much. We're actually 86 from a bar. Like that's how much fun we. Edit that out, please. Don't put that in.
We're not allowed.
Don't put that in. But like, we're so much fun. You're so much fun.
No,
don't put that in, please.
You do seem like that. Now we got to just let us know. We'll talk to the editor after this. So before we get into our challenge, which I'm excited to reveal to everyone, is there anything that we always like giving the floor to our guests? Is there anything that you want to leave our guests with? It can be anything. And Dani, you can start it, and Chanty, you can follow up. But any message, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be on topic, but the floor is yours.
I want to say, big up yourself.
Ooh.
Hey.
Big up yourself, because we are not taught to walk boldly and just like pat ourselves on the back and be just so shoulders straight and just confident. So big up yourself. It doesn't matter who calls you arrogant. As long as you know who you are, just big up yourself.
I love that. Hey.
Okay, I have to say, I want to leave, I guess, with the message of leading with intention. So leading with intention in your friendships, in your relationship, in your life. So like, what is it that you want? Do you want happiness? Do you want trust and respect in your friendship? Then lead with that. And then it will kind of reflect back to you.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. Okay. You know what? Girl. Everything, yes. That's
why you're my friend.
That's why you're my friend.
So I guess this is a perfect moment for us to get into our Talk Down challenge. And what we've done is, I'm not going to be the one talking you guys to death anymore. We're actually going to let our guests do it. And Dani is gracious enough to prepare one for everyone. So without further ado.
Yes, well, one thing that I've been focusing on is being present and thinking about gratitude during these troubling times. I think it's really important to remain grounded and think about what it is that we do have and what we can celebrate. So my Talk Down challenge is to take some time to be introspective and think about the 3 people in your life that have shaped you, that have imparted wisdom to you or changed your life in such a way that you should either pin them a note, drop them a DM, text them, write them an old-fashioned letter, and just take time to let them know that you're grateful for them and just explain to them how they've been instrumental in your life.
So important.
Nice, I like that.
Chanty, anything to add to that?
I mean, that was an ending. I mean, what can I add to that? I'm going to write a letter to Dani after hearing that. I'm definitely following the challenge. I mean, I think I'm going to, again, kind of repeat what I said earlier. I think a challenge is leading with intention, with everything that you do, even with that letter that you are challenged now to write.
I'm going to do the same. I'll take that challenge.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Like she said, I agree with it 100%. There are a bunch of people in our lives who do, and maybe we take it for granted because we are living, right? So it's hard to stop and be like, damn, like what got me to this point? Whether it's, like Dani said, somebody else, or whether it is yourself and you are writing a letter to yourself, thanking yourself for anything you've been able to endure and stuff like that. Because sometimes, more times than none, we do push ourselves and we do help ourselves a lot, right? You don't only have to rely on somebody, even though they are in this chat alone. We do have specific people who we can call upon whenever we do need that help. But some people don't have that, right? So becoming that person for yourself is super important. I love that Dani was able to express that, so we can express that to those people. So
yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I love that.
Actually, I do want to say something before we leave. Dani actually made me write a letter to myself years ago and mailed it to me. Was it like a 5-year span, a 4-year span?
3 years.
3 years.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was incredible to see my growth, my spiritual growth when I wrote that letter. And I was in a really weird relationship, and it was interesting. So maybe write that letter to yourself.
Oh, I was gonna say that. Maybe that could be your challenge. Yeah, we got 2 challenges out of this. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so
Well, that's a good idea. We should do that again.
yeah, well, I'm actually gonna do that too. And I got a little mason jar. I'm just gonna dump it in there, and hopefully it's there in 5 years.
Yeah.
We could do it in 1 year.
So much happens in a year. I mean, look at 2020.
I'm gonna skip 2020. I'm gonna pretend like this.
I mean, 2020 has been a learning experience.
Yeah, no,
It
it's
has been rough,
yeah,
but it has been a learning experience.
rough but necessary, I would say.
The world won't be the same. The NBA won't be the same.
Bye, girl.
Listen, the most devastating thing that happened to me is that Kobe passed away this year.
I know.
No, that's a lie. It has been COVID, of course.
Yeah.
But 2020 has been rough.
Dani and Shanti, you have been wonderful guests.
Yeah.
We appreciate you for joining us, and obviously, there's much more that we can delve into. So we will definitely have you back as reoccurring guests. You've been blessed by Talk Down. Thank you so much. Everyone, make sure to follow them. We definitely will make sure that their social media handles are on the screen and down in the description below.
If you guys got this far in the episode, make sure you drop a comment below. Let us know what your favorite part of it was. Begin writing that letter to yourself like we talked about. Comment, like, subscribe. Share this if you enjoyed it that much that you feel like somebody in your circle needs to see this. And again, I want to thank the guests for coming on. I had a great time.
Yeah.
This conversation could have gone on forever. As always, tell a friend to tell her friend to tell all of her friends to follow us. And we'll check you out in the next episode, man. Thanks, guys.
They let it talk down when I'm not around, yeah. It's only tied down when I'm out of town, no. I don't trust many when I'm in the city. I've never been a shooter, but I keep them with me.